Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. Last week I uploaded a video talking about Canada's low birth rates and kind of the effects that it has had on the country. And today I'm going to discuss the solution that Canada has chosen to go with, which is what a lot of other first-class countries are deciding to do. And that is trying to get the population up through immigration. We're going to have a look today at kind of what that does to the country and why that is not the best solution that there is and what should happen instead. Let's back up to the early 2000s when our families first settled in Canada. Back then, they were letting in a lot of large families that were typically either from third world countries like Paraguay, Mexico, and Bolivia that had been struggling to make ends meet, or that came from European countries looking for a better life for their children as well. And what this did is it had two effects. On the one hand, they were pretty good for the economy in general at the time because these were large families that obviously needed housing and therefore created a bigger demand. It also brought more future prospects for the workforce. And obviously it equaled more taxpayers. Another positive effect that this strategy did have is it brought down the average age of the population and creating more households for the future, since a lot of these children grew up in families where family was very highly valued and did go on to have their own, which is the closest thing we can get to raising the birth rate of the country. But on the other hand, this created a lot of more strain on the social programs that Canada has, something that attracted a lot of these families to Canada because they offer child benefits and supposed free health care, how everyone sees it, but failing to think of the fact that it also puts a strain on the taxpayers. Now, just to put in what child benefit is, it's a bit of an incentive that the Canadian government tries to use on people to entice them to have more children. And it is based on their tax bracket and the amount of income that they have. So the higher the tax bracket, it actually lowers the child benefit, which this creates a little bit of a problem because it incentivizes people really to work less because their child tax is just going to go down and they just want easier money if they can get it. So they really don't see a point in working harder when their child benefits is going to go down because they're going to even get taxed more, and they just really don't see the reason to work harder. We even know of one family that was able to pretty much entirely live off of their child benefit because they had such a large family, plus a little bit of extra generated from a hobby that they had going on the side. Now, in my opinion, it would be better to get rid of the child benefits altogether and rather create tax incentives for families. This would still keep families incentivized to work harder and earn their money, which creates a lot higher of a chance to increase their income for them to have more money to work with. Since the early 2000s, we have seen a shift go from accepting families into the country to leaning more towards cheap labor, temporary foreign workers, fast food workers, and students. This shift started even already under the Conservative government and has just exponentially accelerated under the Liberal government over the last number of years. So some of the effects that this had is suddenly when you went to a fast food restaurant, you could hardly even understand the employees that were working there, which made it really frustrating for customers to just simply place an order. And it also has been clogging up the colleges, making it way more difficult for actual Canadians to get into their own schools. With the large number of people that are being brought in wanting to go more into customer service rather than skilled labor positions, this leaves large companies in a bind that look for these skilled laborers because now they have to fill the positions with whatever labor they can find, and this holds back the growth of the companies, which really helps the economy when these companies thrive. As you can see, the way that immigration used to be for Canada was better than it is now, but still, in my opinion, not the solution for the low birth rate. I really believe that the best solution for this all is for Canadians to have more children themselves. And for this to happen, the shift of the culture is really going to have to take place. Otherwise, I just don't see things getting better anytime soon. And this shift really has to be on the cultural level rather than the government, because the government just cannot make people want to have more children. It really has to be the values of the people that has to change, and they need to value families more in order for this problem really to be solved for good. Now, with the right government in power, I do believe that they can play a helping hand in at least stabilizing the economy by deregulating things and also incentivizing people by lowering the taxes. But but that is as far as they can go to help the situation. Otherwise, it really has to be the cultural level where things really have to shift. The longer that this goes on for, the harder it's going to be to come back from it, because the population is still aging. The more that the population ages, the harder it is to pay off the debt that the country has accumulated. In turn, this increases the cost of living, making it even harder to raise a family in Canada. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think and whether or not you think that Canada stands a chance at coming back from all of this.